Krishna Kirtana Gana Natana Paro Premamritambo Nidhi Girad Hira Jana Priyo Priyakaro Nirmatsaro Pujito Shri Chaitanya Kripa Baro Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavahantarako Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragoyago Shri Jiva Gopalako Nana Shastra Vacharanaika Sad Dharma Samstapako You can't sing it in this octave? That sounds very strange. Lokanam hitakarino tribhuvane manyo saranyakaro Radha Krishna Padara Vinda Bhajanan Nandena Mataliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragoyago Shri Jiva Gopalako Shri Gauranga Gunanavarna Vidado Shraddha Samriddhi Anvito Apotapana Krintano Tanubritam Govinda Ganamritai Anandam Buddhi Vardanaika Nupano Kaivalya Nistarako Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragoyago Shri Jiva Gopalako Jaktva Turnam Asesha Mandalapati Shrenim Sadatu Javan Bhutva Dina Ganesha Ko Karunaya Kopina Kansta Shrito Gopi Bhava Rasamritabdi Lahari Kalola Magno Mahor Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragoyago Shri Jiva Gopalako Kujat Kokila Hamsa Sarasagana Kiran Mayura Kule Nana Ratna Nibada Mula Vitapa Shri Yukta Vrindavane Radha Krishnam Aharnisham Prajapato Jivarta Doyo Muda Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragoyago Shri Jiva Gopalako Sankhya Purvaka Namagana Natibi Kalavasani Krito Nidra Hara Vihara Kadi Vijito Chaityanta Hino Chayo Radha Krishna Guna Smriter Madhuriman Nandina Sammohito Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragoyago Shri Jiva Gopalako Radha Kunda Tate Kalindi Tanaya Tire Chavam Sivate Preman Mada Vashada Sesha Dasaya Grasto Brahmato Sada Gayan Tochakada Harer Gunavaram Baba Bibhuto Muda Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragoyago Shri Jiva Gopalako Hey Radhe Brajati Vike Chalalite Hey Nanda Suno Kuta Shri Govardhana Kalpa Pada Patale Kalindi Vane Kuta Oshantav iti sarvato prajapure Kedir Mahavivalo Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragoyago Shri Jiva Gopalako I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are always engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna and dancing. They are just like the ocean of love of God, and they are popular with both the gentle and the ruffians because they are not envious of anyone. Whatever they do, they are all pleasing to everyone, and they are fully blessed by Lord Chaitanya. Thus, they are engaged in missionary activities meant to deliver all the conditioned souls in the material universe. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles. Make this louder. For the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. Louder. I offer my respectful obeisances, too much loud, to the six Goswamis, who are very much enriched in understanding, that's good, Lord Chaitanya, and were thus expert in narrating his transcendental qualities. They can purify all conditioned souls from the reactions of their sinful activities by pouring upon them transcendental songs about Govinda. As such, they are very expert in increasing the limits of the ocean of transcendental bliss, and they are the saviors of the living entities from the devouring mouth of liberation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis who kicked off all association of aristocracy as insignificant. In order to deliver the poor conditioned souls, they accepted loincloths, treating themselves as mendicants, but they were always merged in the ecstatic ocean of the gopis' love for Krishna, and they bathe always and repeatedly in the waves of that ocean. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis who were always engaged in intensely worshiping Sri Sri Radha and Krishna in the transcendental land of Vrindavan, which is filled with peacocks and flocks of cooing swans, cuckoos, and cranes. In Vrindavan, there are also beautiful trees full of fruits and flowers and having roots inlaid with all valuable jewels. With great delight, the six Goswamis bestow upon the living entities the ultimate boon of the goal of life. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis who were engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord and bowing down in a scheduled measurement. In this way, they utilized their valuable lives, and in executing these devotional activities, they conquered over eating and sleeping and were always meek and humble, enchanted by remembering the transcendental qualities of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis who were sometimes on the bank of the Radhakund lake, sometimes on the shores of the Yamuna, and sometimes in Bamsibat. As they sang of Krishna's qualities, they appeared just like madmen in the full ecstasy of love of God, exhibiting different transcendental symptoms in their bodies, and they were merged in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who chanted very loudly everywhere in Vrindavan, shouting, O Queen of Vrindavan, Radharani, O Lalita, O son of Nanda Maharaj, where are you all now? Are you just on the hill of Govardhan, or are you under the trees on the bank of the Yamuna? Where are you? These were their moods in executing Krishna consciousness. So, could someone look up Giriraj Swami on Facebook? and hand me their machine. Marsh wrote something very nice today, or he gave something very nice. Before the creation of this cosmic manifestation, the Lord enlightened the heart of Lord Brahma with the details of the creation and manifested the Vedic knowledge. In exactly the same way, the Lord Chaitanya, being anxious to revive the Vrindavan pastimes of Lord Krishna, impregnated the heart of Rupa Goswami with spiritual potency. By this potency, Srila Rupa Goswami could revive the activities of Krishna in Vrindavan, activities almost lost to memory. In this way, he spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvashesha Sunyavadi Paskita Deshatarane Om Agyana Timarandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Didati Sva Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Dam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakavidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pangur Mama Mandamatergati Matsarvasva Padambo Jo Radha Madana Mohano Dibyad Bindaranya Kalkajumada Srimad Nagara Singhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prastalabi Savyamano Smarami Sriman Rasarasarambi Bamsi Bhatatasti Taha Karshan Venu Svenar Gopir Gopinatha Striyestuna. Can you get me that little table that the Kunja Bihari would use when he does his recitations? It's not good to put the books on the seat. It's in the back. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Brindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripasandubhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha, Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When will Srila Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada, who is established within this material world, the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Adi Leela, chapter 10, verse 84. Anupama Vallabha Shri Rupa Sanatan Etina Saka Vikshara Pachima Sarvotama. On the western side were the 43rd, 44th, and 45th branches, Sri Sanatan, Sri Rupa, and Anupam. They were the best of all. In the Gora Gonadesh Deepika, verse 180. Sri Rupa Goswami is described to be Sri Rupa Manjari. There is the beautiful prayer song to Rupa Goswami as Rupa Manjari by Narottam Das Thakur, which we'll read and look at the conclusion of our small attempt to take a peek into the glories of Srila Rupa Goswami. In the Bhakti Ratnakar, there is a list of the books of Srila Rupa Goswami. Of all these books, the following 16 are very popular among Vaishnavas. Number 1, Hamsadutta. Hamsadutta is Lalita Devi equipping and telling a Hamsa, Dutta, swan, Hamsa, Dutta, messenger, to deliver a message to Krishna in Dwarka, the condition and plight of his beloved devotees in Vrindavan, his mother Yashoda, the coward boys, and particularly and especially Srimati Radharani. And in the impersonalist philosophy, there is no reciprocation between the Lord and the living entity. But in the personalist philosophy, there is. So the feelings exchanged between the Lord and the pure devotee is the very meaning of existence. So as Lalita Devi is understanding the plight of Srimati Radharani in her feelings of separation, it's not revealed very much in, it's touched upon in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the residents of Vrindavan meet the Yadu dynasty at Kurukshetra. Actually, our glorious Rath Yatra festival, which Srila Prabhupada, from his earliest youth, took very, very seriously. He was checking the timetables of the railway when he was a child, when I can go to Jagannath Puri. He told one of his leading devotees, everything that I'm doing now, I've done in my youth. I'm doing the exact same thing my entire life. So this is very nice. This Jagannath Rath Yatra is the premier preaching and outreach program for whatever temple or yatra attempts to put it on, such a grand and huge and intense endeavor. But it's all, the very heart of it is the reunion of Krishna with his devotees. Separation turns into long-awaited union. So the second most famous book is Uddhava Sandesh, which is Krishna expressing his feelings. It's a very confidential revelation to Uddhava. 3, Krishna Janma Titi Vidhi. 4 and 5, Gona Desha Deepika. 4 is Brihat major and Lagu minor. 6, Stavamala. Stavamala means a collection of prayers, a garland of prayers, and there are many individual songs, hymns, or prayers in there that are certain numbers of verses. Many are 8, Astakam. This is an oft done thing by Vaishnav writers and kavis. They will write verses numbering 8. But some in this book, Stavamala, are very famous, free-flowing and spontaneous, like Utkalaka Valari and Karpanyaka Panjika Stotra. And in particular, Rupa Goswami was expressing his feelings while living in Vrindavan, feeling the presence of the divine couple and their associates, as it's expressed here. They were searching very intensely, where are you? Feeling their separation. Separation from the beloved on the transcendental platform is simultaneous seeming separation, but an intense union together, mixed in. Prabhupada writes, transcendental feelings of separation, although painful, have a unique quality that they pacify the heart. So we shouldn't be afraid to enter into the ocean of transcendental separation from Krishna. As Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, to enter that mood and serve those devotees who are feeling such profound separation from Krishna is our supreme constitutional position. Stavamala. Many wonderful things in this Stavamala. Lalita Devi Astakam, Radhikastakam, so many. And in terms of prayer and emulation, many of our senior devotees, they've spoken, recorded, and given seminars on Utkalaka Valari, Karpanya Panjika Stotram, and how we can enter into that mood here today as followers of Srila Prabhupada. And the two famous plays, which you can read about in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila chapter 1, Srila Rupa Goswami's second meeting with the Lord. What was Rupa Goswami's first meeting? At Allahabad. Yes, and being instructed there. So he wanted to write one play, but then Satyabhama Devi, who is Radharani's incarnation as Krishna's chief queen in Dwarka, instructed that he should write in two. So Vidagdha Madhava is about the pastimes of Vrindavan, and Lalita Madhava about the pastimes at Dwarka, but particularly the feelings of the divine couple in separation. It's a very miraculous and amazing work which shows the parallel between the identities of Krishna's queens and consorts and how they are simultaneously in Dwarka and Vrindavan. Very, very interesting. Vidagdha Madhava, Lalita Madhava, 7 and 8. 9, Dana Kali Kamudi. That is a one-act play depicting the toll pastimes at Govardhan Hill, where Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Giriraj Swami obtained the 19th century stately home, castle even, of the king of Bhartpur, and is now ISKCON Govardhan. Just across the street is the Dan Nivartan Kund, the place of the toll pastime. And the very first verse of this Danakali Kamudi is very wonderful. It describes the glories of Srimati Radharani. All glories to Radharani's love for Krishna, the enemy of the Mora demon. Although that love is so important, it is devoid of pride. You see people, I'm doing something very important, very proud of it, you know, I'm in a big position. But here, Srimati Radharani is in the supreme position, completely devoid of pride. although it is all pervasive, so the pure devotee, he actually sees everything as an emanation, even in its perverted reflection, as we see in this material world, as an emanation of the love of Radha and Krishna. So although it is all pervasive already, it tends to increase at every moment. Wow. And although it is supremely pure, it is beset with duplicity or seeming contradiction or, yes, difficult to understand. The neophyte will ask, well, if it's like this, then how could it be like that? Dana Kali Kamudi, 10. Everybody knows. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This is the most celebrated book of Srila Rupa Goswami, the Nectar of Devotion. 11. Ujjvala Nilamani. Ujjvala Nilamani is 16 chapters and is a complete understanding of the conjugal pastimes of Radha and Krishna in all different categories and varieties of different personalities, their moods, and their interactions, etc., etc. And it's done in such, it's written in such a way that the technical title or description of the particular mood or the particular type of activity or interaction is given with an example from the Leelas. And it moves from one thing. It's not a book that you would get, you have to pay very much attention. It's very exciting, one to the next, to the next, to the next. Rupa Goswami, at the end of Ujjvala Nilamani, he prays that Sri Govinda will be pleased with his work and accept it as one of his shark-shaped earrings. 12. Akyata Chandrika. 13. Mathura Mahatmya. Mathura Mahatmya has been published by ISKCON devotees, and it is a glorification of Mathura Mandal, Braj Mandal, quotes from various scriptures and devotees. 14, Padyavali, that is a large collection of prayers by great Vaishnavas previous to the time of Rupa Goswami, because he's compiling what is already existing. Many of them known and many anonymous, and also titled with, the prayers are, he's writing them as examples of certain leelas and certain moods of Krishna and his devotees. It's a very interesting book. And is in different categories, such as Glories of the Holy Name, Glories of Residence in the Holy Dham. And it progresses from standard and, let's say, acceptable and applicable for the lower or neophyte class all the way up, and as the book progresses, it becomes more and more intimate and confidential. Padyavali. 15, Nataka Chandrika, and 16, Lagu Bhagavatamrita. Srila Rupa Goswami gave up all family connections, joined the renounced order of life, and divided his money, giving 50% to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas and 25% to his kutumbas. Kutumbas means family members. I'm going home, Prabhu. I have to see my kutumbas. And keeping 25% for personal emergencies. He met Haridas Thakur in Jagannath Puri, where he also met Lord Chaitanya and his other associates. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to praise the handwriting of Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami could compose verses according to the desires of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and by his direction he wrote 2 books named Lalita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava. It's important to note that he's there at the Siddhabakul, the place of residence of Haridas Thakur in Jagannath Puri. He remained there for 10 months, and Lord Chaitanya would visit every day. And in corroboration or in confirmation of the dream he had of the visitation of Satyabhama Devi, Lord Chaitanya also instructed him to write his drama and divide it into 2. Lord Chaitanya desired the 2 brothers, Sanatana and Rupa Goswamis, to publish many books in support of the Vaishnava religion. When Sanatana Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord advised him to go to Vrindavan. Okay, it's a lot of things about Sanatana Goswami. What time is it? Huh? Haribol. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, say mora sampada, say more bhajana pujana, say more pranadana, say more abharan, say more jivaner jivan. The lotus feet of Shri Rupa Manjari, Rupa Goswami's eternal form as a gopi of Braja, are my real wealth. They are the object of my devotional service and worship. They are the treasure of my heart, and they are my ornaments and the life of my life. Se mora rasa nidhi, se mora bancha siddhi, se mora vedera dharam, se brata se tapa, se mora mantra japa, se mora dharma karam. For me, they are the reservoir of all rasa and the conclusion. They've changed this translation. And the conclusion of the religion, the conclusion of the concluding purport of the Vedas. They are the fulfillment of all my desires and the goal of all my vows, austerities, and religious activities, and the confidential chanting of my mantra. By the power of those lotus feet, my activities will become favorable to devotion. I will achieve spiritual perfection, and with these 2 eyes, I will be able to actually see. Both day and night, the flood of exquisite beauty of Sri Rupa Manjari's divine lotus feet will shine like the brilliant moon upon the lotus of my heart, thus giving relief to my afflicted soul. O Rupa Manjari, the venom of the snake of separation from you has caused this soul to wither and decay, and now my life is ever afflicted and distressed. O Sri Rupa Manjari, please have mercy and give me the shade of your lotus feet. Narottam Das has taken refuge. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tatojayam Udirayat Nasnapareshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 14, Verse 25, Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. Samasana Chakranila Duli Durmra Vikirna Vidyota Jata Kalapa Basma Vaguna Tamala Rukmadeho Devastribi Pastyati Devaraste. Lord Shiva's body is reddish and he is unstained, but he is covered with ashes. His hair is dusty from the whirlwind dust of the burning crematorium. He is the younger brother of your husband, and he sees with his 3 eyes. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Lord Shiva is not an ordinary living entity, nor is he in the category of Vishnu, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is far more powerful than any living entity up to the standard of Brahma, yet he is not on an equal level with Vishnu, since he is almost like Lord Vishnu. Shiva can see past, present, and future. One of his eyes is like the sun, another is like the moon, and his third eye, which is between his eyebrows, is like fire. He can generate fire from his middle eye, and he is able to vanquish any powerful living entity, including Brahma. Yet he does not live pompously in a nice house, etc., nor does he possess any material properties, although he is master of the material world. He lives mostly in the crematorium where dead bodies are burnt, and the whirlwind dust of the crematorium is his bodily dress. He is unstained by material contamination. Kasyapa took him as his younger brother because the youngest sister of Diti, Kasyapa's wife, was married to Lord Shiva. The husband of one's sister is considered one's brother. By this social relationship, Lord Shiva happened to be the younger brother of Kasyapa. Kasyapa warned his wife that because Lord Shiva would see their sex indulgence, the time was not appropriate. Diti might argue that they would enjoy sex life in a private place, but Kasyapa reminded her that Lord Shiva has 3 eyes called the sun, moon, and fire, and one cannot escape his vigilance any more than one can escape Vishnu. Although seen by the police, a criminal is sometimes not immediately punished. The police wait for the proper time to apprehend him. The forbidden time for sexual intercourse would be noted by Lord Shiva, and Diti would meet with proper punishment by giving birth to a child of ghostly character or a godless impersonalist. Kasyapa foresaw this, and thus he warned his wife, Diti. Hare Krishna. So Kasyapa Muni's final attempt to admonish Diti, concluding with describing the danger of displeasing Lord Shiva. And here it's stated how there's no question of, hiding. You see people want to go have sex, let's, your wife or husband won't see we're having an affair separately, make sure we don't text each other or sneak out, we think ourselves very successful because, we indulged ourselves and nobody knew, nobody saw, we fooled everybody, ha ha ha. So this is criminal mentality. And people would say, well, how do you, there's no witnesses. And in a court case, they try to defend themselves. Either the witnesses are snuffed out, dead men tell no tales, or they're paid off, or they're blackmailed, or everyone is in complete collusion, threatened by the mafia. Once you join the mafia, you can never leave because you know too much. So that's not the case in the administration of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's no dearth of witnesses. They can't be bought off, threatened, blackmailed, killed. They're there permanently. So Kasyapa is warning like this, and the result will be a godless impersonalist. And it's interesting, Prabhupada a child of ghostly character, godless, impersonalist. So there's not much difference between crazed, maniacal, tyrannical demons and impersonalists. Because basically the mentality is born from the same ilk. It's interesting to note the glories of Lord Shiva. He's the master of the material energy, but he doesn't even have a house. He doesn't even claim to have a house. And Lord Shiva perhaps is the greatest example of not trying to categorize or title, think that we know who devotees are just by their external appearance and activities. We don't know ultimately what is their heart if we're so externally identifying. Oh, this Prabhu did this, Mataji did that. Of course, we shouldn't take it as a license to act in antisocial or in forbidden or in, let's say, obnoxious ways with our fellow associates, especially here in the temple, because I'm a great devotee and I can act like Lord Shiva. As the other side, that one who tries to imitate Lord Shiva and smoke Ganga, Ganges, or keep himself unclean and unregulated, he can't claim that he's on an exalted position. So Lord Shiva, he's in this position because he can very closely associate or win the trust and faith of those in the mode of ignorance, and he's taken the thankless task of giving them shelter and somehow or another gradually elevating them in the course of time to a higher and more progressive stage when they ultimately can qualify for liberation one way or the other. So Lord Shiva is ultimately the greatest devotee. Prabhupada says in one place in regards to Mahatma Vidura that the Lord and the living entities sometimes have to play the role of very low creatures to deliver the fallen conditioned souls. So Vidura was previously Yamaraj, or is Yamaraj, and Prabhupada said he came and was Vidura, a seeming Sudra, but he worked very, very hard to deliver a very fallen soul, Dhritarashtra, and he was successful in his attempt. The Lord becomes Varaha, becomes a boar, and to kill Hiranyakashipu, who was one of the offspring of Diti from this forbidden sex act, the great demon Hiranyakashipu. He had to become a lion, half man, half lion, to keep the promise of Brahma intact, not by man, not by any animal. Okay, you didn't say a man and an animal combined, so that's okay that I can kill you as a half man, half lion. Benediction is intact, but I found another way, not in the land, sea, the sky, not in the day or the night, not inside or outside of any residence, not by any weapon, not by anything living or dead. Fingernails, they could be said to be alive, and at the same time they could be said to be dead because they're not conscious. Ha ha. So from our side, we take the humble position and we follow all the rules and regulations. This will help keep us very safe and nice. Yet at the same time, our individual expression and in our feelings for love for Krishna, they will manifest as the Lord sees that we are serious by accepting the process to approach Him, which is given by the acharyas. Where is that? That the acharyas have crossed over the ocean of material existence in the boat of transcendental knowledge given by the Lord, but that boat miraculously, even though they have crossed to the other side, you missed the boat, Prabhu, sorry, better luck next time. You missed the airplane, but the boat remains on this side for us to board and cross also, even though the boat is already crossed. Amazing. Can God make a rock so heavy that He can't lift it? Yes, and then He can lift it. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, just a clarification. In this,
What?
just a clarification. In the 16 books that you mentioned by Srila Rupa Goswami or compiled by Rupa Goswami, was Upadeshamrita mentioned in that?
It's not listed there. Actually, he said 16 are very famous. So there's more. Yep, nope, it's not listed here. All right, you all clarified up? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Govinda ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Raja Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
His Grace Ram Roy Prabhu ki.
Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.